Chapter 37. I was now 12. Daddy had once again brought up the subject of my mother and how she had fallen into a crowd who did drugs. The voices told me that she had died from an accidental overdose. She just had been taking too many drugs. I didn't feel the need to discuss this with my dad. My thoughts were churning in my head. "Where's the guy that knocked her up?" I asked. "I don't know. I think it was a guy named James Harrison that got your mother pregnant, but there's no way to know for sure. He lives in Ohio, as far as I know." Wow. I sighed heavily as the voices agreed that his name was in fact James Harrison. Not only am I an alien, but I'm a bastard child too. The hits just keep on coming. "Don't talk like that," Daddy reprimanded me. "Doesn't bastard mean illegitimate?" I asked. "Yes," he sighed in exasperation. "I just mean that you don't have to accept that label, that's all. I'm your dad now, and you are a wanted child." "So how about giving me a mom?" I suggested. I supposed that he wasn't going to comment on the alien part of me. "That would involve a woman that was willing to marry me. I really don't see anyone around that fits that bill," he replied offhandedly. He was right. We lived in a small town, and it wasn't often that we met a woman the right age who wasn't married. Plus, he was a slave to our ranch. "How did I end up in the orphanage?" I asked. Daddy explained that my mother had run away, and the family couldn't find her. After his parents died a year later, he had looked for her, but it had taken another 2 years before he found out she'd had me, given me up, then died almost a year later. He had decided to raise me if I hadn't already been adopted. And now here I was. "Why did you try to find her if she didn't want to be found?" I asked. "I had to find her. She was the only one left in our family besides me. Besides, she was my sister. If she was in trouble, I had an obligation to help her." I kept my opinion to myself, which was that she was mentally imbalanced and a jerk. Thinking back on it, it was a little odd that he rarely ever mentioned his sister except to remind me not to drink or do drugs. He only told me a few childhood memories of the two of them. Except for those memories, he never talked about the past. I sometimes wish I would have had asked about it. "Did you try and find my dad?" I asked him. "No, I never felt the need to. Do you want to find him?" I just stood there staring. I blinked a couple times. The voices said that James Harrison didn't know about me. If Daddy found him, would I have to go live with him? What if the court made me live with him and the kids there hated me even more than the ones I dealt with every day? "No, I don't feel the need either." "You're not going to make me find him, are you?" I finally replied, maybe a little desperately. "No, Pumpkin. If you're okay with me substituting for a dad, then no. If you want to find him when you're older, I'll leave that up to you." "Oh yeah, you're a good daddy," I said as I felt the sudden need to hug him. He accepted my hug and then pulled me onto his lap. It felt okay to stay there as we talked a while longer. Most people didn't remember their early years, but I could remember back to when I was still in diapers. My earliest memory was learning to crawl. Daddy had asked about the couple that I thought as my real parents. I told him all that I remembered. He steered the conversation elsewhere and told me the facts of life. I silently compared his knowledge with stupid boys, but found them to be pretty much the same. I was glad he told me that I'd be experiencing periods soon, as I had no idea. He really should have told me sooner. Later on that day, we went to someone's ranch where Daddy had bought a horse. There were 2 dogs that seemed vicious, and they were advancing on us. I knew we were in trouble. I centered my attention on the 2 dogs and imagined them calm. I imagined that I was petting them and feeding them, and they liked it. In the meantime, Daddy was in front of me trying to shield me from the dogs as they approached. I tried again to imagine the dogs being calm. Both dogs suddenly quit growling, and they stopped in their tracks. "Nice doggies," I told them in my mind, as I imagined them rolling over and me scratching their bellies. I smiled as one of them did roll over, showing their belly to us. I don't know what's wrong with them, Daddy warned me. Be careful. The owners came out of their house at that point and called the dogs in. Both dogs looked as though they were smiling as they ran to their owner. I've never seen them do that, the owner said, scratching his head in confusion. I normally have them locked up because they could be mean, but apparently they escaped. I'm so glad they didn't bite you. I mentally told the dogs to be friendly from now on. I mean, it was dangerous for a guy to keep dogs that were vicious. After we'd loaded up the horse and were homeward bound, I said to Daddy, I did that. I stopped the dogs. What do you mean you stopped the dogs? I told him, but he didn't believe me. So when we arrived home, I told him that I thought I could get the horse to do what I wanted to. Hell, I knew I could. I did it all the time with our horses. I just never thought about it before. Daddy looked at me like I was crazy. Yeah, he scoffed as he lassoed the horse and brought her out of the horse trailer. The horse was a little spooked. I imagined her feeling calm. I told her in my mind that everything was okay. Let her go, Daddy, I urged. What do you mean, let her go? He asked. We'll never catch this horse if I let her go. Give her some slack, I replied. He sighed loudly and gave the horse some slack on the rope. I imagined the horse walking calmly over to me and standing there. I watched as the horse took the slack in the rope and started walking towards me, while Daddy just stared in surprise. He had thought the horse would take off running. I patted the horse on the neck and surveyed in my mind whether I could ride her bareback. I let the horse know I was going to run and jump up. Daddy almost had a heart attack when I did just that, yelling, "What the hell are you doing?" to me. I somehow managed to hoist myself up there. The horse never moved, though. I rode it around for a few minutes. He didn't say another word until we were in the barn. When did you learn that? He asked me. Tonight, when the dogs came at us, I lied. How did you know what to do? I don't know. I just did. Sometimes the voices instruct me, Daddy, but you wouldn't understand. What are you? He asked. Oh wait, that didn't come out right. I didn't mean that, he said quickly. He was still talking, trying to backtrack what he said. Yeah, that was a remark you couldn't take back. I told you before, I'm an alien, I replied seriously. Oh, don't say that, he said as he pulled me onto a hug. I didn't mean to make you feel like you're odd. It's just that things happen when you're around that don't normally happen. There were other abilities, and there had been many experiences, but he was spooked enough so I would just keep those experiences to myself. And since he was in denial, I suppose that was best.